At the very beginning of the film, the audience is introduced to two fishermen who arrive on a particular scene. They were engaged in a conversation specifically about a mermaid, indicating a prior awareness or perhaps a shared legend concerning such a creature. Following this discussion, they make a deliberate decision to capture the mermaid. To achieve this goal, they embark upon an expedition into the sea, specifically for the purpose of fishing for this mermaid. A significant amount of time, more than 1 week, had elapsed during their efforts. Throughout this period, they had meticulously set up a trap, designed with the explicit intention of capturing the mermaid. They patiently maintained their vigil, continuously waiting for the mermaid's arrival. Simultaneously, a boatman was positioned at a distance, meticulously keeping an eye on their activities, observing them from afar. Eventually, their persistence pays off, and the mermaid is indeed caught in the trap they had set. They proceed to pull the captured mermaid onto their boat. What follows is a cruel act, as they begin to torture the mermaid. During this harrowing ordeal, as one of the fishermen is attempting to bind the mermaid, it seizes an opportunity. With a sudden and forceful movement, the mermaid attacks the other fisherman using its powerful tail. Following this swift retaliation, it immediately jumps back into the sea. The fisherman who was attacked also falls into the sea along with the mermaid, as he was tied with a rope. All these dramatic events were witnessed by the distant observer, the boatman, who was keeping an eye on them. The remaining fisherman, now in the sea, begins to fire his gun at the mermaid. However, in a tragic turn of events, his companion, who had fallen in, is inadvertently shot. Despite this, that fisherman manages to catch the mermaid once again. In the interim, the observer, the boatman, having come closer, covertly hides himself within their boat. From his concealed position, he observes the fisherman wildly attacking the tail of the mermaid, using an axe. With brutal force, the fisherman dismembers the tail of the mermaid. It is at this point that the fisherman becomes aware that someone has secretly hidden in his boat. The fisherman promptly captures that hidden man. He then begins to investigate him, posing direct questions such as, "How did you approach here?" and "Why did you come?" The captured man responds by identifying himself, stating, "I am a psychiatrist," and revealing his name as Dr. Bayer. Dr. Bayer then addresses the fisherman, asserting his desire, "I want to buy this mermaid. Make a bargaining of it with me." Concurrently with this declaration, the mermaid's severed tail, which had been cut off, falls into the sea. Seizing an opportune moment, Bayer launches an attack on the fisherman, using the very same axe that was used to dismember the mermaid's tail, and he ends the fisherman's life. Subsequently, Bayer embarks on a research endeavor, focusing on the half-body of the mermaid. He meticulously notices that the mermaid's body has been cut off at the waist. Despite this severe injury, an astounding fact emerges: the mermaid is still alive. A few days later, a remarkable transformation begins as new skin starts covering the mermaid's body. Furthermore, it continues to be alive even without consuming any food. Above all, it had remained lying at the same place for many days, exhibiting a profound state of immobility. After a period of 63 days, its body undergoes another significant change, shedding its skin. Simultaneously with this shedding, human-like feet and legs had remarkably appeared where its tail once was. Her newly formed legs and feet gradually recovered with the passage of time. However, despite this recovery, she was still unable to walk. In terms of sustenance, that mermaid used to eat exclusively fish. For the purpose of conducting further investigations and observations, the doctor decides to bring the mermaid to his psychiatric hospital. A particularly mysterious fact about this hospital was that there were only females residing in it. Among the girls at this psychiatric hospital, one individual named June is highlighted. June always used to talk with a particular girl. The unique aspect of this interaction was that this girl was only visible to June, and no one else could see her. It was unequivocally clear that this invisible companion was a ghost girl. When Dr. Bayer eventually brings the mermaid to this facility, a significant revelation occurs: the mermaid was also able to see the ghost girl. This was the same ghost girl who was visible to June. The mermaid, understandably, was sorrowful due to the cruel treatment she had endured. She consistently attempted to be wet or immerse herself in water, indicating her inherent connection to her original aquatic environment. Throughout this period, Bayer was continuously keeping a vigilant eye on the mermaid through camera surveillance. As June engages in conversation with that ghost girl. A crucial piece of information is revealed: the girl had been dead 10 years ago. However, the ghost girl herself was in denial, not accepting her own death. The ghost girl used to perceive herself as alive, just like the other girls who were patients in the psychiatric hospital. At this point, only the mermaid and June possessed the ability to see her. The other girls in the hospital used to laugh at June whenever she talked to the ghost girl, often making remarks like she was talking with a soul. A new dynamic then developed, as the ghost girl had started to converse with the mermaid. Furthermore, the ghost girl also began to actively try and support the mermaid. In addition to her interactions with the ghost girl, the mermaid is also shown talking with a nurse named Sandra, communicating in another language. The mermaid was actively revealing all the past incidents and traumatic experiences that she had faced. However, Nurse Sandra was not able to comprehend any of what she was saying, struggling to understand the meaning behind her words. In an effort to overcome this language barrier and understand the mermaid's communication, Nurse Sandra decides to call a language specialist. This specialist then engages in conversation with the mermaid. The mermaid then imparts significant information, stating that there is a girl who is invisible to everyone else. At this, June interjects, confirming, "I am also able to see that girl." The mermaid continues her revelation, declaring, "I don't belong to this world. I rather belong to the sea world and I am mermaid." She further informs them that her tail had been cut off violently. Explaining her current state, she states that since coming into this world, her body has generated human-like feet. She elaborates further, telling them, "We have learned this language from some of the people." These people, she clarifies, were fishermen who had dived into the sea. Moreover, she reveals that those same fishermen had brought many of the mermaids onto the earth. A shocking fact is then disclosed: there are girls currently on Earth who are descendants of those mermaids. She adds another crucial piece of information, and a fact is this: a daughter of one mermaid is also present here. Finally, she explains the inherent vulnerability of mermaids, stating that they cannot survive on Earth without water, and that they can also die if they live on the Earth for a long time. Upon hearing these extraordinary revelations, all present are left utterly shocked. Despite the profound nature of the information, no one among them initially believes this fact. However, Drive Bear reacts with a different emotion. He becomes furious. His anger stems from the fact that the mermaid revealed such sensitive information about herself and her kind to others. In response to his fury, Drive Bear drags the mermaid brutally, explicitly stating his intention to punish her. He then proceeds to imprison her. Notably, the ghost girl also accompanies the mermaid into her confinement. All the other girls in the hospital become deeply worried, witnessing such harsh and cruel treatment being inflicted upon the mermaid. One particular girl, moved by the mermaid's plight, decides to try and go close to her. That girl stealthily approaches the mermaid's location. However, Drive Bear catches sight of her. She bravely asks, "Drive Bear, where is the mermaid?" Dr. Bear responds by telling her, she is in the cellar. Surprisingly, Drive Bear does not prohibit that girl from going but rather lets her proceed. As that lady is searching for the mermaid, the ghost girl calls out to her. Yet, despite the ghost girl's attempt to communicate, her voice is not audible for that lady. The lady eventually arrives at a place where an insane woman was present. This insane woman suddenly attacks her. Being thoroughly frightened by this encounter, that lady then reaches a mysterious room. Within this room, she encounters a dog, which is revealed to be a predator. This dangerous animal had been brought up and kept there by Dr. Bear. Due to the profound darkness enveloping the room, there is nothing clearly visible for that lady. The savage dog then attacks that lady, and tragically, that lady is ended. It is here that a dark truth is revealed: Drive Bear was definitively not a gentleman. The film exposes that he had also victimized other girls besides the mermaid. His horrific practice involved making his savage dog eat the flesh of those girls after he had ended their lives. Sandra later asks Drive Bear about the whereabouts of that specific lady who had been finished by the savage dog. Dr. Bear provides a deceptive answer, telling her that lady has been transferred to another place. She is all right and secure. Throughout this period, Drive Bear was constantly observing the mermaid. He views that the mermaid is somehow managing to come out of the cellar. This particular observation compels him to ponder deeply about her abilities and changes. Consequently, he decides to conduct even more research on her. It is witnessed during this time that the mermaid's body is undergoing rapid changes. Furthermore, that mermaid was also struggling, making visible efforts to stand on its feet. Sandra provides crucial support to the mermaid during this challenging period. After a few days of observation, it is noted that the mermaid was, with newfound courage, able to walk on its feet. The other girls in the hospital also began to befriend it. They had developed a liking for the mermaid, fostering a sense of camaraderie. One night, the mermaid makes a bold move. It runs to the forest, breaking a window glass in its escape. Inspired, other girls also run out, following the mermaid. However, Bear catches sight of them running through his camera surveillance system. Reacting swiftly, he takes his gun out. Meanwhile, the escaping girls, continuing their run, reach a river. They all initially decide to swim in the river. But their plans are halted as they discover the water was filthy enough, causing them to stop there. Later, those girls, feeling cold and experiencing appetite after their escape attempt, return to the psychiatric hospital. However, one particular girl and the ghost girl choose to remain accompanied with the mermaid. The mermaid appears satisfactory, having found that river and a sense of independence. The girl who had stayed with the mermaid overnight, upon waking up in the morning, finds herself alone. Consequently, she also returns to the psychiatric hospital. During this time, it is observed that the ghost girl was diligently searching for the mermaid in the forest. The ghost girl then observes a remarkable transformation. The mermaid has totally changed within a single night. Moreover, its tail had also miraculously recreated itself. However, despite this incredible recovery, the mermaid was entrapped there. The reason for this new predicament was that the river had dried up. Recognizing the mermaid's distress, that ghost girl says to the mermaid, "I will support to lead you at your dwelling sea." Subsequently, the mermaid is seen moving towards the psychiatric hospital, sitting on a wheelchair. But Bear witnesses this sight. In a shocking act of aggression, he deliberately strikes his car with the mermaid. It is at this moment that the truth is also exposed before Sandra. She realizes that the mermaid is actually a mermaid. Dr. Bear then takes the mermaid into his car, enlisting the assistance of his workers. His immediate action is to end the life of his guard, doing so to keep this critical fact secret. Sandra and the other girls also become evident of the guard's killing, clearly witnessing the murder. Realizing that his secret is compromised, he then advances with the intention to finish everyone else. Sandra takes protective action, locking herself in a room with many other girls. Dr. Bear attempts to unlock the door to reach them, but his efforts are of no avail. It is simultaneously observed that another nurse is actively hiding other girls in a lavatory. This nurse then attempts to search out an exit for them. However, Bear notices her and shoots her to kill her. Following this, Bear moves towards the lavatory. There, he victimizes all the other girls savagely. Hearing the terrifying shouting and screams, Sandra is seen running away with a guard and other girls. Dr. Bear then boards his boat, taking the mermaid with him. On the boat, he hangs the mermaid in a fishing hook. He was going to dismember the mermaid again, indicating a further act of cruelty. His rationale for this drastic action was that he had supposed he had caught himself in a great trouble. This perception stemmed from the fact that Sandra and other girls had witnessed him committing murder. And those girls and Sandra had subsequently run away, posing a threat to his secrecy. However, Sandra courageously chases Bear's boat, driven by her determination to secure the mermaid. The ghost girl is also present, accompanying that mermaid. As Dr. Bear is in the process of torturing the mermaid there, Sandra hears its voice and comes to that location. While there, Sandra discovers a document file. This file contained crucial details about that girl whose ghost was visible to the mermaid. Here, another grim fact is exposed. Bear had also tortured this very girl while conducting his research. As a tragic result of this torture, that girl had died painfully. Sandra then finds the mermaid. Dr. Bear is on the verge of attacking Sandra, but Sandra acts swiftly, firing a gun on him before he can launch his attack. Dr. Bear does not die from the shot but sustains injuries. Following this, the mermaid also attacks him. In the midst of this confrontation, the boat sustains damage, creating a significant hole. Consequently, the boat begins to fill rapidly with water. All the other girls, hearing the sound of shooting, approach the scene to help Sandra. And those girls also bear witness to the incredible sight that she is actually a mermaid. Being united in their purpose, they collectively release the mermaid from the fishing hook. The mermaid, now free, goes into the sea through the broken part of the boat. However, the other girls had become caught in the boat due to the flow of the water. They all begin to drown because the boat had filled with too much water. June then informs them that there is a dead body of a girl in the water. While searching for it, they find the actual dead body of that ghost girl. At this point, the other girls had begun to fully trust in June. Then, Bear attacks Sandra. He tries to finish her by drowning her. But the mermaid, having escaped, returns back to the scene. It confronts Bear directly while simultaneously helping Sandra. Dr. Bear loses his consciousness here, overwhelmed by the mermaid's intervention. The mermaid then assists all the other girls, helping them to take them out from that sinking boat. The mermaid comes to them once all the girls safely step on the ground. And she expresses her gratitude, gratifying them by saying, "You have helped me." The mermaid then reveals a final, startling truth here: June is actually a daughter of a mermaid. Following this revelation, the ghost girl also appears there, and remarkably, she was becoming visible to everyone present, no longer exclusive to June and the mermaid. The mermaid addresses that ghost girl, saying, "I could always see you. I could sense you." After uttering these words, she has disappeared into the water. It is then observed that Dr. Bear is coming out from the water, regaining some form of consciousness. But the mermaid, with a final act, pulls him down. And it proceeds to drown Bear to death. The movie also concludes on this dramatic and decisive scene.